Om, Om, Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Rat
Amritam Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram.
Ram, Sairam everyone. Long time no see. How was everybody's birthday celebration? कैसा रहा सबका? सब म्यूट पे या म्यूट हो गया ऑटोमेटिकली? पता नहीं, मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा.
I think engine garam hona baki hai. How was Swami's birthday celebrations?
Superb.
बहुत अच्छा था. यहाँ पे लाइव लगा दिया था टीवी में. स्वामी प्रशांत निलयम पहुंच गए थे हम लोग वर्चुअली.
नाइस. और
मॉर्निंग इवनिंग
कोई भी मतलब बॉम्बे में स्पेशली एनी इन पर्सन इवेंट्स हुए थे?
क्या
या
क्या
एवरीथिंग वाज वर्चुअल ओनली या फिर?
नहीं वर्चुअल नहीं था. बॉम्बे में प्रोग्राम था इस बार
जो था ना.
धर्म क्षेत्र में, बट आई अवॉइडेड दैट.
या गुड.
I went in the afternoon and I thought nobody will be there because बहुत crowd था and people are not wearing masks. Most. तो कहते हैं काफी रश थी. सुबह भी और शाम को भी प्रोग्राम था.
अच्छा.
So we being senior citizens थोड़े better to go in the afternoon only.
Good. Yeah, I know my family members also. I think उन लोग गए थे कुछ odd time पे, एकदम early morning या late night something like that. They मतलब माथा टेक के फिर आ गए थे. Something like that. Better.
बस उसके लिए जाना जरूर लगता है. आदत पड़ी हुई है ना धर्म क्षेत्र जाने की. तो it's like going to wish your mom. You have to be.
Correct. Absolutely.
हाँ, तो दोपहर को हम लोग गए. 12:31 जल्दी से होके आ गए बस.
Very nice.
बाकी तो अपना ही करना है साधना. हाँ, धरती का प्रोग्राम देखा लाइव थोड़ा. सुबह का देखा.
Nice. Yeah, I hope हम लोग का काफी gap हो गया था. I think we had planned this gap for birthday for a study circles. So I hope we got time to think about some of the things, practice some of them. I don't know how much, but at least I know every one of the Sunday or something मुझे ऐसा लगता था कि यार something is missing, is something ऐसा लगता connection had broken kind of thing. तो वो feel हल्का तो आता था. So I'm glad to be back. I hope बाकी सबको भी ऐसा लग रहा हो. So, but yeah, I think having said that, trying to maximize time. If I remember correctly, Pratibha aunty and Siddharth and Meera aunty, we are thinking कि last time हमारे questions आंसर पूरे complete नहीं हुए थे. I think even in advance we had some questions left जो we couldn't cover, and obviously so we'll do that today, and then if something else comes up also we'll attempt and address those concerns or those questions or those thoughts. So having said that, I know Siddharth, you have that list ready and you have probably a prioritization there, but you can start with that or just start with any of those thoughts. I'll hand it over to you.
Sure, Ashutosh. So, loving Sairams and a wonderful evening to everyone. Offering our humble and prayerful salutations to our beloved Sai, and let's pray together to him to bless us with his message through these questions which have been put forward. Sairam. So we had 10 questions which had come in, and of which 5 we had taken in the last session, and 5 more were pending. And that's what we thought we'll try and cover offline, but I think probably it's good to complete those 5 today, and then start a fresh topic next session onwards. So let me do one thing like how we did last time. I'll read out the questions. We'll just have an open discussion if anybody has any thoughts to share to answer those questions. Before we conclude, on each of them.
Please,
fine.
can we all switch off our mics except the speaker because there's some background noise, can't hear.
So I think सबका off है. The only thing is Munira aunty's is on, but उनका फिर problem हो जाता है उनका off on करने में if she wants to speak. So that's why.
Okay,
But I think
fine.
everybody else is off only.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Are you hearing the knock on the
Knock,
nail?
knock.
Ah, that is the background music I've got here.
अच्छा.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know why full day नहीं था, अभी 6:30 बजे उसने शुरू किया. Maybe.
Okay, ठीक है, that's fine then. Sai Ram.
Sorry for that, but let's hope they stop it on time. Okay, so let's take the first question quickly. The question for today, rather 5 questions. The first one of them is, when we believe that all our actions are from God, how do we stop from feeling bad for negative actions we do knowingly or unknowingly? Okay, let me read the question again. When we believe that all our actions are from God, how do we stop from feeling bad for negative actions we do knowingly or unknowingly? Anybody wants to say anything on this?
By controlling the mind, which overrules the common sense.
Okay.
Because the mind is a very corrupt and a very powerful seat.
Okay. Mind is ultimate issue for entire challenges that we face in life. So point taken.
True.
Anybody else? You want me to read the question again in case since it's too long?
हाँ एक बार कर लेना सिद्धार्थ वापस से, or maybe we can translate also if you want.
So when we believe that all our actions are from God, how do we stop from feeling bad for negative actions we do knowingly or unknowingly? I'll also copy paste this on the chat. Maybe that will help.
Yeah, I think obviously सबके thoughts होंगे, but as a hint, this is connected to हम जो कर्मा पे discussion किया है. I think just throwing out a hint there. अगर somebody wants to share their thoughts, this can be seen as connected to that topic.
I can give you a clue. Just look at reread the question. The answer is in the question itself.
May I?
Yeah, please go ahead.
The thing is that if the action happens unknowingly, okay, and we are in a certain state of, some level of surrender to Bhagwan, as well as our faith in him is complete, complete faith again is something that is very subjective. Then we can say that Bhagwan, like they say Krishna Arpanam, but if it is knowingly done, then the onus is on us, because we have been warned that it is a negative action and we still go ahead and do it. So we are not following our conscience at that point. So we are not listening to the voice of God. We are not listening even to ourselves, and therefore that is on us. Sai Ram.
Okay. So when we don't listen to the voice of conscience, the onus is on us of the negative actions that we'll perform. And that's how the karma philosophy works on. But the question here is, when we believe that all our actions are from God, okay, that's the first part. Second part is, how do we stop feeling bad for negative actions we do knowingly or unknowingly?
Our belief that everything is through God is a myth that we want to have to cover our own bad habits or flaws. And then we take him as a shield to protect ourselves. God wanted it, so I did the wrong. But that is not the right answer in life. I mean, I guess it is not. We just use him as a shield. We are only using God. We don't want to take blame on ourselves. Is that the answer? No. Your smile tells me no.
I just said the answer is in the question. You're
Siddharth,
there.
Siddharth, what I was thinking is that based on when we introspect and suppose we have done something which is not right according to dharma or whatever, then I think first thing we have to check is our intention. What is the intention? Then if the intention is pure and selfless, then I think it should be fine. I don't know, but this is how I tell myself.
Okay. No, I think good thought. One more clue. The answer is very, very, very simple. There's no need of karma philosophy. No need. I mean, all points are valid. It's not they're incorrect. In spirituality, nothing is incorrect. Everything is correct. There are different angles to see the same question. But the answer is very, very simple. Yeah.
May I
so-
tr- Yeah, so I think it's like this. Once you have surrendered to God and you believe that all actions are from Him, there is no negative and there is no positive. At that point, you do not say that this action is negative, positive. It is what it is. And everything is from Bhagavan because you are totally surrendered to Him. And so I think feeling bad is again taking it back onto yourself. So that means your surrender is not complete. So if you are feeling bad for something, that means you have not totally given it all to Him. And therefore you are judging good, bad, right, wrong. And so it's basically a reflection on you and your faith, I think, at this point.
Because there is nothing else but that. There is nothing else but that. We can't harm anyone. We can't hurt. It's all one, actually. If you don't mind, can I just the small things like digression? There was some a thing from Palti, a small like snippet, like 2 minutes, which that Prem Anush, she talks. Siddharth, you must be knowing him, no?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a small thing about this, that there is nothing, there's only one. Actually, Swami, you might have heard it. So he says the boys, after they passed out from the hostel, some of them were lingering on to ask Swami what to do, whether to continue here or whatever. So for 1 or 2 months, they were staying outside the hostel, taking rooms outside, single rooms. You know about this? Yes, Siddharth and Ashu may be knowing. You know?
I think maybe if you complete
Yeah.
the story, yeah.
So they were taking rooms outside and staying because, and then every time they would come for darshan, Swami would say, don't stay alone, it's not safe. But some of them listened to Swami and he said 2, 3 at least stay together. But some of them did not bother. Finally, he was quite firm with them, and he said then everyone took it seriously, and at least 2 were staying in one room. So he came to one boy and asked that how many in your room? So he said, Swami, 2, me and this fellow there. So he said, no, not 2, 3. Yeah, you know this. I think you only tell it. It will be better if you tell.
No, go ahead. You tell.
So he said, not 2, 3. So he said, how? I kept quiet. So he said, no, you, him, and Swami. I said, okay, Swami. Next day, again, he came to the same boy and asked him, how many? So he said, 3. Aram se. So he said, no, not 3, 4. 4. So, my God, now what? So he said, you and Swami, he and Swami. 4. So this is how he told him. Then the third day again he came to this same chap and he told him, how many? So now he again said 4. He said, no, not 4. Not for, he said, now this is too much. He said one, only one. So this is so beautiful. So where are we hurting anyone? It's all one. We are not, I mean, it's all him, but we have to only understand that when we hurt someone or we do something wrong, it is, we feel that duality maybe actually at that time. But the question as you're asking it is that if you realize that there is no other, then there's nothing to worry about. Like Aarti started this train of thoughts in my mind. That's why I just thought I'll just say this.
No, absolutely. I think, Ashutosh, you want to add before we conclude on this?
No, I was going to say the same thing. I thought it picked up on the right light. Maybe Aarti didn't use the exact words from the question, but it was that, if you really believe that your actions are from God, and so beautifully then elaborated by Usha Aunty. I just going to echo your thoughts with that.
No, absolutely. I think probably the answer is already provided by all of you, in fact. Aarti Aunty and Usha Aunty actually gave the answer. Meena Aunty or Minu Aunty actually spoke about the journey toward that answer, because mind is the only hurdle to reach that oneness. So I think the answer is very simple, because when we see, the first part is when we believe that all our actions are from God, okay, comma, how do we stop? The question is, where is we? The answer is in the first part. When you believe that all actions are God, there is no question of I, you, me, we, etc. So the second part of the question has an answer in the first part. How do we stop? There is no we left anymore. If we believe that everything is from God, as you rightly said, is one and the only one. So how do we stop? There is no question of we existence anymore. It's only He left in the entire sequence of events. So we stop from feeling bad for the actions we do. So the second part is more on I, we, you, he, etc. The first part is when we believe that it is only from Him, there is no we left anymore. So the entire the path or the journey from I to we to Him is exactly this. So whatever we spoke about in all the last 1.5 years of study circles, they're all hinting towards that journey of dissolving the mind, where the I, we, sense of otherness, sense of separateness, whatever we have, that has to be dissolved eventually, so that that belief actually becomes a faith. Okay, so right now we are intellectually believing it. It's not experiential. It's only intellectually. Moment we actually experience it, it's only Him and Him alone who does everything. Life becomes much more easier. So as you rightly said, from I to we to Him, it's only one and the one only that is left. And that mind, which is the culprit, has to be dissolved. And we have discussed in a different forums, in a different way, answering the same journey of I to we to Him. So we'll not elaborate on that, but that is exactly what is required for us to reach that level. And it's a journey. It's not going to happen even intellectually in a 1 hour's time where we discuss and it will be done by end of say 7:30. Everything is perfect. It's not going to happen that way. So we'll have to, all the practices that we do is dissolution of that mind, which creates a sense of separateness or otherness, or that ego that we call, or if I can refer to that conversation on the cloth, on that bulb that we discussed, the cloth is what gives us we are separate than others. Remove the cloth, then everything is done by the bulb, which is there, the ultimate reality. So that is one very clear answer which Bhagavan has provided, and very simply put, absolute surrender to Him leads us to that result that is there. Absolute surrender, good, bad, ugly, it doesn't matter. We just remain a witness. And in fact, a lot of times we would have heard that God is a witness. We end up doing. He only doesn't intervene everywhere. The roles change. The roles exactly change. We remain the witness. He is a doer. And there is one nice clipping. In fact, I would give this credit to Aarti Aunty. She just shared one nice clipping on WhatsApp, 1-to-1 with me. I'll probably show it now, where Swami says, faith and love. If you have this, God can become puppet in your hand. It's just 1.5 minute video. Maybe if you're okay, I'll show that. And in Swami's own words, that if you have implicit faith and love, you don't need any jargons of spirituality, any chakras to be opened, any energy blocks to be removed. All that is all intellectual gymnastics. What we simply need is a pure love and faith in God.
Correct.
He says God becomes a puppet. So I mean that is a, you know, the way it is. Yeah, I'll share on the WhatsApp as well that video. Maybe Aarti and you also can share on the group. Post this. I'll just show that video right away. Maybe we can share it offline on the group.
When we have spoken about God knows everything, I would like to tell one thing over here.
Yeah.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Whenever there has been certain happenings in my family, particularly parental house or anywhere, I never took a decision in my hand. कौन गलत है, कौन सही है. Fights took place, misunderstandings took place. Everything I left it in his hand, and I used to be a silent spectator. जो सही है, जो गलत है, जिनको क्या मिलना था, क्या नहीं मिलना था, it was ensured. But I don't say that उनको वही मिलना चाहिए कि उनको यही punishment मिलना चाहिए. I don't take that decision in my hand, and I very much believe in that theory. आज भी मेरे घर में जो भी होता है, मुझे कभी गुस्सा आता है, कभी नहीं आता है, कभी मैं बोल पाती हूँ, कभी मैं नहीं बोल पाती हूँ, whatever it is. हाँ, आज भी मुझे गुस्सा आता है, मैं मना नहीं करती हूँ. Then immediately I think to myself, if I believe in my karma theory, everybody comes into this world by karma theory, whether it is my daughter, whether it is my grandson, whosoever it is. So why don't you leave them surrender them in the hands of God? Let him take his own decision. उनका जो बुराई होगा, उनका जो अच्छाई होगा, let him give the judgment rather than me breaking my head every day.
That's true. See, you can, in such situations, you can express your thoughts and leave it to them to take a call. If you are not a decision maker, because there is certain boundaries. ये
जो कश्मकश है मेरे जिंदगी में, on a day-to-day basis I experience. इसलिए मैं इसके बारे में ज़्यादा elaborate नहीं कर सकती हूँ. But even then, this I have been practicing and this I have been experiencing. तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि सब कुछ उनके हाथ में छोड़ दो, इत्मीनान से रहो, सबका भलाई करेंगे. भले थोड़ा कुछ hard time रहेगा, थोड़ा कुछ सिखाना पड़ेगा. Let him take his own decision. Let people little bit realize their mistakes by crossing the very hard path. कोई लोगों के नसीब में ये भी रहता है कि भाई तुम बोलते रहो नहीं समझते हैं, लेकिन एक दिन ऐसा आएगा कि he only will set a what you say benchmark and bring them out successfully.
आंटी आप जो बोल रहे हो वो हर घर की कश्मकश है आपके पास नहीं, और वो हर घर की मतलब एवरी सिचुएशन में होता है. और आप जो कह रहे हैं कि जैसे सिद्धार्थ ने कहा, जस्ट टू से समथिंग एंड देन लीव इट, दैट्स द बेस्ट वे. आई हैव सीन इन माय ओन फैमिली थ्रू माय ग्रैंडफादर, you know, through his life, he has never been very harsh to my mom or anybody else. He would just say leave it. There are others in the family who really want to, you know, help somebody, or they think that's the right version, they push it. But then Swami also said always ki when Lord Krishna only couldn't change the Kauravas, so then who are you and me, right? So wo that understanding we should have. But yeah, thanks for sharing. ये हम सबके साथ होता है.
Just to give, last 1.5 months when we didn't connect over the study circle, I went through lots of it, where a lot of things were taken from me and then I was left behind. You know, in the corporate world, how it is, people want to take credit. So they take your ideas, they take your opinions, and after that one fine day, you see they have used their labels and then gone ahead. Even certain decisions which you had taken have been reversed, which is, see, our role is limited. So whatever I could do, I did. After that, it's a destiny which everybody has to go through. That is the best way to be
happening. All many side devotees, even my daughter suffers like this. I mean, sometimes I feel we brought them up in such a way, you know, the correct behavior hona chahiye, but it just doesn't work in the outside world sometimes. But finally, you all will win. I always tell her that. Sometimes she gets very cynical about things, you know, because this is not working. This goodness doesn't work, Mama. This doesn't. See, people are just out to. It's like just one big competition. That's all. So I can understand what you're saying. You know, it's not easy.
It's not easy, but you know, Swami's teachings really help us to lead our life very peacefully. Because see, had this teaching wouldn't have been there from Swami, we would have fought tooth and nail and, you know, invited a lot of stress. A lot of stress can create a lot of health problems, and eventually disturbs your state of mind. your thought process.
I
And-
wish she was here. She fights tooth and nail. That's the problem. She fights. And your to Baba, your Swami students to बहुत फर्क पड़ जाता है. She is a Swami's devotee from child, बचपन पैदा होते ही, but still she fights for her rights, and she fights because she thinks she is right. And that is the problem, you know, like you can't make anyone understand. Like this is,
See, one thing is all of us are on that path. Okay, as Swami says, even the ant on the road also is on the path of self-realization. It's just that some of us are in a different, some of us are ahead, some of us are behind, some of us are in the beginning, or in the middle. It depends upon which part of the journey it is. So, I mean, all of us will eventually reach that destination. It's just that dhire, as life is a big book which keeps teaching us all the time. Someday the mind will say, "Theek hai, bahut ho gaya. Now let me step back and, I've said enough, I've spoken enough. Now it's up to the world to take it or leave it. Because I am not a decision maker. I don't have a control in my hand. I have only control. And actually, as you said, I mean, this is again not part of the script, but I'll share one nice analogy which Swami shared, with boys. And one of the boys did ask Swami that, how do we face the battle of life and what we come across in day-to-day life? And Swami says, you boys are young, so you must be, playing football. And the person incidentally asked for us was from West Bengal. So West Bengal is known as a football, loving state. So Swami actually, gave the example of a football field and said, see, life is a game played. This is a famous saying of Swami. All of us know it. Swami says, what your team is, the team composition that you have got when you're playing a football, is like your family, friends. Those are all fixed. When you're born, those are all fixed. You have your family, you have got parents, brothers, sisters, siblings, social circle, all those people are there. What you face on the other side, the opposition team, is also frozen. Those are the things which, if I, attach this to what Prarabdha Karma we spoke about, what we are born with, that is also given. So only way which we can play the match is how you play. Do you go ahead and be an attacking fielder, or you are in the midfield, or you are on a defense? That choice is in your hand. Both the teams are frozen in the football field. That's given. Now, how you play the match is up to you. And a very simplistic way, again, Swami says is, what you face in life is destiny. How you face is self-effort. That is the only thing that is in our hand. How do we face a calamity in life decides where we are on the path of spirituality. One of the questions last session also was, how do I know how I'm progressing on a spiritual path or enlightenment? A simple answer is this: how do we face? Are we moving in the right direction? Are we much more calmer? Are we much more stable in facing the challenges of life? Then we are progressing on the path. So everybody is on that path. Eventually will reach. ये जिंदगी में या तो 10 साल में या तो next life में या तो 10 life के बाद eventually we will reach that goal post and will win the match. So, okay, without much ado, let me show this video. Let me see if you are able to see the screen. You're able to see the screen?
Yes.
నిత్య జీవితంలో
You're able to hear the sound also? Let me know.
ఏ గ్రంథాలు చదవనక్కర్లేదు. You don't need to read any book. ఏ యొక్క సాధనలో మనం చేయనక్కర్లేదు. You don't need to undertake any spiritual path. ఇంత చిన్న సులభమైన మార్గంలో ఆనాటి వేదాంతం ప్రారంభమైంది. The Vedanta is taught in a simple path in those days. కనుక ఇంకను ఈ వేదాంతం లోపల చిన్న చిన్న పదములంతా ఉన్నాయి. There are very simple words. ఇంత చిన్న 3 అక్షరముల పదం లోపల in 3-lettered word 300 గ్రంథాలు రాయవచ్చు. 300 volumes can be written. ఎట్లా? How? మనకి ఇంగ్లీష్ లెటర్స్ అంతా 26 లెటర్స్ ఉన్నాయి. In English language there are 26 letters. ఈ 26 లెటర్స్ లోపల ఇంత పెద్ద గ్రంథాన్ని రాయొచ్చు. With all these 26 letters you can write a very big volume. అంత ఇంత గ్రంథంలో కూడా ఆ 26 లెటర్స్ ఏ ఉన్నాయి. Such a big volume is full of these 26 letters only. Violin 4 wires ఉంటుంది అది violin లో. The violin will have 4 strings. కానీ 40 tunes అంతా మనం దాన్ని ఆడించొచ్చు. But you can play 40 tunes on the violin. అదే విధంగానే likewise మన యొక్క దివ్యత్వమైనటువంటిది ఈ విశ్వాసము ప్రేమ. But the divinity, these two, faith and love. రెండు ఉంటే భగవంతుడు మీ చేతి లోపల ఆటబొమ్మగా తయారైపోతాడు. With faith and love, even God will be a puppet in your hand. In your hand. In your hand. You are not in his hand. You are not in his hand. He is in your hand. He is in your hand. అందువల్లనే దైవత్వం సర్వత్రా ఉండినట్టుగా ఉంటుంది. So divinity is everywhere. అందరూ ఒక్కొక్క రీతిగా ఉంటున్నారు. ఒక్కొక్కరి హృదయం లోపల ఒక్కొక్క ఆత్మ అనేటువంటిది ఉంటుండాది అని.
He said that Atma is present in each and every one.
కానీ నాకు ఆ ఉద్దేశం కాదు.
But Bhagavan doesn't agree to that.
All are one. Be alike to everyone.
But Bhagavan says all are one. Be alike to everyone.
అందరూ భగవంతుని బిడ్డలే అన్నాడు ఆయన.
He said all are children of God.
కాదు, భగవంతుని బిడ్డలు గారు అందరూ కూడా భగవంతులే.
Bhagavan says further, all are not children of God, you are all God.
I hope it was clear, video and the audio.
Yep, came across fine.
Yeah.
Great. So very simple, I think, faith and love. But you know, while it sounds simple, that faith and love को develop करने के लिए बहुत परिश्रम करना पड़ता है. We have to go on that path. All of us are like, you know, baptized by fire. What we say, that's what we go through in life to reach that stage. But that's the ultimate solution to, you know, once we have firm belief and faith that it's all Bhagwan and his actions, we just remain a puppet, or rather we become a witness and he becomes a puppet, as Swami says. Okay, so quickly moving to the next question.
Just one thing, Siddharth, before we do that, very quickly. So I saw Meenu's reply there saying my reply was proof I'm in lower KG class and all that. So auntie, actually I wouldn't agree there with you, because आपने जो बोला कि, you know, we all take God as a shield and do that. So I think if we don't have belief in God, that's what we do. You're right. People who say that, it's all on God and I didn't do anything, I'm feeling bad and God did it, it is because they don't have that faith. So you were showing the other side of the coin. So it's not that you were wrong or it was a bad reply. I think it was perfectly accurate. So you don't need to feel that way.
I think at least she is in KG class. Some of us maybe not even born, if I may say so, because all of us go through the same challenge what you mentioned.
Yes, but when you begin late in life, then you know you are still trailing behind.
No. Nothing like that. Meenu, let us see your face first. That's who we're talking to. Please let us see your face.
Maybe
There's nothing like beginning late. You're old Atmas. This body's age is not what counts. Let us see your face. Let us see how you look. Please, just once.
I will one day do it when I muster the courage. Because I just feel that I'm so much behind the curve in life.
Not at all. I mean, it's you don't know who's ahead, who's behind. It's nothing like that, because suddenly things happen. You don't know. I mean, suddenly realization dawns.
Yeah, I hope that happens with me, and I just moving up with Mummy's help, it might work.
Swami's
our class. Yes, Swami's help. Yes, I agree with you. For me, she's my Swami. Put it at that. My guide. We'll continue with the class, gentlemen.
Okay, let me see one important point you mentioned, and this is very important for all of us, not just for you. I think you raised a very important. I think I missed reading the chat. So thanks, Ashutosh, for bringing that point. Just to give you a fact, you know, all of us know Buddha, and I've referred to him many times in the past. Buddha had 555 lives before he became enlightened. Now, should we call him behind or ahead? 555 lives.
Correct.
Okay. So, I mean, you never know. Each one's syllabus is very different.
True.
What syllabus we are following in our life and in the, you know, spate of number of lives that we go through, we never know. And the fact that we are together on this session, see, I've come across many divine beings who have spoken on one point which has hit me very, very clearly, and most of us have taken for granted, is to have a satsang. That means you have done tons of punya in the past. Satsang of like study circle, or watching nice videos which are inspiring, which are divine, or watching or reading divine books, or attending a satsang. It doesn't matter whether it is Satya Sai Baba or whichever, the divine being that we attend, whichever divine masters, we attend. Satsang moment you have in life means you have actually traveled quite a distance.
Chosen this over other things.
Sorry, I missed that.
We've chosen this over other things, where people are doing other things at the moment. They need not, they are not interested in such things. So the very fact that we feel this is important is itself a big thing.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Right.
Hopefully.
Alright, this is good. Again, so now being mindful of the time, I know you brought it up, and so I think we have 20 minutes left. I think we probably have time for 1 or 2 more questions, but we can move on to the next maybe.
Sure. So I'll just put the question on the chat. How do I know I'm happy from within and not due to external factors? How you remain so most all times? Do we strive for internal happiness or peace? Anybody who want to attempt this? How do I know I'm happy from within and not due to external factors?
That fullness, content. When you're quite content, not because of the physical factors, you have fullness, that fullness with divinity. Divinity bhi bole ke it's all your, mind, level of mind. You're totally full. You're very happy within. You're quite content. I think so. That is the way you understand about your happiness. Because it stays. As any situation change when it changes. You're fine in every situation. That way.
Arti aunty also wanted to chip in.
So I think the acid test would really come if there is an adverse situation or something negative, or the going is not good for you. And at that point, at least can you remain in equilibrium, can you remain peaceful? Can you remain calm? And can you not start reproaching yourself or blaming yourself or feeling guilty? I think that is the time when everything is good outside, then it's good to feel good within. But the test comes when the thing is not going so good for you on the outside. And then how is your internal temperature and environment? How are you on the inside? And how do you behave with other people? Do you kick off a reaction which puts others on the defensive because you are having a bad time? Or are you still able to be balanced? And I think another criteria is sometimes it is based on people, and they come in front of you and they put you in a tough spot, in a bad situation. And at that point, do you blame them? Do you hate them? Do you feel guilty? Do you want revenge? Do you feel the need that they should be punished? Do you feel incriminated? If you are able to avoid such emotions, which are negative, basically anger, jealousy, hatred, whatever it may be, I think then you are there. Happy would be at least content, at least equilibrium, in equilibrium. Saira.
So sharing auntie, anybody else would like to? Because I know a lot of points already covered, but any other thoughts before we start talking about it? Okay.
I think, your answer is absolutely, again, there are no right and wrong answers. If I may repeat the question, I'll go back to the question and then connect what we just discussed. How do I know I'm happy from within and not due to external factors? So external factors include circumstances, relatives, people around us. One thing is, the farther we are from the source, the more expectations from others increase. And source, I mean the divine. Okay, we call it Swami, Buddha, Jesus, Allah, all the same name to the source. The farther away, or even more simplistic, forget all the names, our real self, the ultimate source. The farther away we are from the self, the real self, the source, the more the expectations increase. Okay, and that's why what happens is we keep expecting from others कि ये शायद हो जाए तो I'll be happy, ये शायद नहीं होगा तो I'll be happy, and we find reasons for those happiness. The best example all of us have seen, in fact all of us have experienced also in our life. If you see a child He's happy for no reason. Have you seen a small child? He's happy for no reason. He's just happy. That's about it. He doesn't wait for circumstances to improve for his happiness. Because a child at his level is very, very close to his source. All of us have gone through. We don't even, if you remember, go back to the past, when we were tiny tots, we hardly thought about a future. We didn't even know what future is. We just lived in the moment. And if you're living in the moment, you're very close to your source. And you just remain happy for no reason. And somebody takes away the toy from the child, it'll remain upset for some time and immediately revert back to the joy and happiness, which it continues to, it's very easy for the child to divert and then go back to the source of happiness. It'll not remember also that you have hurt the child by snatching the toy away half an hour back. So if you go back to the source, and that's why even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says that, if you want to really achieve divinity, you need to become a child. The child is a father of man, or child is the greatest in the kingdom of God. A lot of such sayings are there because the child is very, very close to the source. And moment we depend on external factors, it's again a hard hitting when I first time heard about this, that I am a slave if I am depending on others to give me joy or happiness. Means others will decide whether I should be happy or sad, not me. Tomorrow I have a chat with Ashutosh. Ashutosh, speaks bad words to me. I'll be sad for the day. So Ashutosh has the key to my joy and happiness. That means I'm actually a slave to Ashutosh. He decides whether I should be happy or sad, not me. So more and more we are external to the factors. If I may even go back to that example of that pinwheel that we had seen in one of the past sessions. Pinwheel mein, the source is exactly very stable. Moment we go on a periphery on the pinwheel, there's a lot of volatility. And we always look for stability. We always look for happiness. We always look for, somewhere I need to find that anchor. But anchor is right in the center. It's again like an example of a boat. A boat, if it wants to be stable, it has to be anchored somewhere. And that anchor is in the source, which is a real self. So all the spiritual practices that we discussed over the last 1 year is again pointing towards that. How do we calm ourselves? How do we go back to the source? Whether we do bhajan with absolute devotion to God, or we do selfless seva without expectations, or we do meditation with complete focus on ourselves, they're all hinting us to go back to the source, which is the center of the pinwheel. And that is exactly the reason, the path for us to have an eternal joy and happiness. And again, to quote Swami, real happiness is in union with God. There's no happiness outside anywhere. And there's a very famous Swami's quote also, which is actually coming from Vedas, is Anityam Asukham Lokam. And this also, I think we referred in one of the past sessions, Anityam Asukham Lokam. So we are into a field where it's a board. Swami is to actually say this, there's a board on the top, Anityam Asukham Lokam. So this Loka has Anityam, which is temporary, Asukham, which is full of misery, and you're entering that particular area. So we can't be able to find happiness in outside world for us. We may find temporary happiness, but moment it goes away, we are back in misery. And that's why, how do I know I'm happy from within? If you're happy for no reason, like a child, you're absolutely happy. And as what Pratibha Aunty said, you're absolutely contented. Contentment comes from within.
Besides, that is happiness. It's not excitement or, that kind of happiness. When you're not in that kind of happiness from the world, where you're very, enthusiastic and all, that is not the state when you're happy from within. It's a kind of boring kind of happiness, but you're content, like Pratibha said. It's very still. It's very still. There's no excitement. There are no ups and downs. It's just there. It's just there. So
yeah, it stays, right? That's what she said. I think just to make it a little bit more clear, right? How do you know, to answer the exact question, whether you're happy from within or external factors? So for example, everything is good in life, good job, good family, everything is good. You're feeling happy. So how do you discriminate at that time? Which one is it? So I think one way to do it would be to imagine if you lose that, do you feel sad with it? Like if you have lost it, do you feel sad? You know, so that's one way to again think, okay, but if that doesn't affect you as much, then maybe that's because if, you know, God's grace is that everything is good, it can become difficult to discriminate which one is it. Is it when things are not going your way, that time anyway you will know. You know, if you're sad, you know it's not from within, and it's all that we just discussed. That's probably one way to do. And how to remain. So most of the times I think Siddharth spoke at length as to how to inculcate that on a long-term basis.
So just to, conclude, I think very nicely put, Ashutosh. So just to conclude, 2 practices that we can do to remain happy always. Morning, make it a point to remember your blessings. Even if you're not in a mood, force yourself. The way when we sometimes we don't want to get up and we have to brush like a child, you know, जबरदस्ती से brush करना है, स्नान करना ही है, ऑफिस जाना ही है, स्कूल जाना ही है. We'll have to make it as a routine. Spend 2 minutes. Either if you're on the way, if you're going to office or any other location or a school or whichever, you know, your occupation, your work area, or you are at home, 2 minutes, continue to count your blessings. And if you can't remember, make a list of it tonight, and tomorrow morning just read it out like an auto suggestion. And eventually, and because there's lots of good things that have happened to us, which we don't remember in these times. So attitude of gratitude, once we start practicing it, it eventually becomes our second nature. If you keep reminding ourselves. And you know, that definitely releases a lot of, if I can use a scientific word, a lot of, chemicals within our system, which keeps us overjoyed and peaceful and happy. When you remember all the good things that have happened. And a very simplistic good thing is, today we have got free oxygen, we've got a free sunlight, we have got both hands and legs intact, we are not handicapped, right? We have chosen right things in life. We are here today, as Usha aunty said, you know, on a Sunday evening, we could have done anything else, but we are here together to think about God and the divine message. All the right things, you know, that buddhi God has given us to do these things. How blessed we are, isn't it? We still have, most of us have, you know, the family intact. We still have adequate food and money and clothes to wear. We still have a nice house to stay. We are not outside on the road. There are so many good things. So all these attitude of gratitude, when we, you know, recollect all of these, it makes a huge difference to continue to, it's like practicing happiness. This is a practical tip. I'm not saying this is connected. So, but ye dhire attitude karte, it will help us to connect to our source. This is from going from outside to inside. Since your mind is so much outwardly, you actually make a list of all the good things that you are experiencing outside, which will give us a connectivity with it. Okay, there is one nice slide, which I think most of us would have seen, but I'll just share that screen again. Maybe that will help, to put in context what I'm, speaking about. I don't know. Let me know if you're able to see the screen.
Yeah, we can see.
I think this is a very common thing, but I just thought this will give us, because we always look for the practical tips and how we can do, how do we generate happiness in our life. There are 4 types of chemicals which are there: dopamine, oxytocin, endorphin, obviously, and serotonin. So these are reward chemical, completing a task, pick up a small task and complete it. There'll be a sense of happiness. Again, this is temporary, but these are the, you are practicing small baby steps toward achieving that internal happiness. And you're doing self-care activities, eating food. It's a great boon that we have got good food and we are able to kind of afford it and eat. Celebrating little wins, very important. Chota cheese, keep celebrating. Don't miss out on any celebrations that we have got, even if it is a small birthday or small nice thing has happened, just celebrate it. Then coming to this oxytocin, playing with a dog, playing with a baby, holding hand, hugging your family, giving compliment. There's one aspect of giving compliment is, some of us may or may not be comfortable in giving. And a lot of times, I can quote corporate world because that is where I work, or my prarabdha karma is in corporate world. So I work there and a lot of people are very hesitant in giving compliments. But one change you see is, as you progress more and more and more on this divine path, giving compliment becomes very natural. You start seeing good in others. It's natural. The worst aadmi mein bhi aapko achha hi dikhti hai, and that's why the giving compliment becomes natural, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you see good in others, you give compliment. Because you're giving compliment, oxytocin increases. So these are some of the aspects, which we can look at. Then obviously you have got endorphin, painkiller. Laughter, exercise. These are all external things like watch a comedy show, dark chocolate, exercising, essential oils, these are all fine. But more importantly for our session, this is very critical. Serotonin, the mood stabilizer, meditating, running, sun exposure, walk in nature, swimming, cycling. See, all these are actually different forms of meditation. When you're cycling, when you're swimming, when you're walking in nature, you are very close to yourself. When you're running also, we are very close to yourself. When you are sun exposure also, we are very close to ourselves. So these are the things which actually connect us within. The dopamine, oxytocin and endorphin are more external oriented. No doubt they help us to get momentary happiness and help us to connect back to our source. But serotonin can give us actually far more stable, happiness from outside and from within. So just thought I'll bring this to a context. Okay, I don't know, does this help us to put into context? So all the spiritual practices are actually going deep within, and these are the external practical tips which we can practice even today onwards. You find somebody on the road, just say, if you know already the person, give a compliment if you find something nice. Okay, just feel happy for no reason, or just divert your attention for some time to look at good things. Many times when you go through the stress, you have a mobile phone, just watch 2-minute video of Swami. There are so many videos of Swami, so many experiences are there which people are sharing. Some kind of those things can immediately help us to connect back to the source. So these are different ways to remain happy, and eventually it'll become a second nature. You will always continue to remain happy forever. Then you don't need these external support systems to connect back to us from within. Okay, so that's the second question. Any other points you want to discuss on this, or we can move to the third question?
We can move to the next one.
Okay,
this probably is the last one.
Yeah, I think next question is again very much connected to this, because the question is, how do we love ourselves without feeling the need to be loved by others or another? It's a very related question actually to the previous one. I'll just put it on the chat panel. How do we love ourselves without feeling the need to be loved by others or another? Very practical question in our life. Very similar to the previous one. How do I know I'm happy from within? So both actually answers are very similar.
We're not reacting to anybody's comments and anybody's actions.
Okay. Anybody else?
It's
very
difficult
actually.
It's a sadhana where Swami keeps telling us, I'm in your heart, I stay in your heart. The day we actually genuinely start believing that, then there is no choice but to love ourselves, because actually it is Swami who's there. So any negative emotion that we feel, any guilt, hate, dislike, self-incrimination, that directly we should think is bothering Swami. Swami cannot see our tears, Swami cannot see our pain. So if we are surrendered and we want to keep Swami happy, then we have to love ourselves. And once Swami told Srikant Sola's wife, he came up to her in the darshan, she was sitting in the first row, and he said, love yourself madly. Bhagwan actually tossed his mop back and said, love yourself, not just love yourself, but love yourself madly, because ultimately there is only one. And the day we believe and experience that, then there is no question of of this thing that we need someone else to love ourselves. There is only one. And love is, Bhagwan says, if there is one thing, love is above even the the 5 values. So love is primordial.
Element.
So, yeah. Saira.
A good thought. Thanks, Aarti aunty for sharing this. Anybody else?
Tushar, were you saying something? I don't know if we cut you off previously. आप कुछ बोल रहे थे क्या? आप mute पे अभी. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying it is very difficult to love yourself when others are criticizing you or something like that. But we are always wanting to, make others happy. Why? Everybody wants to make others happy because we feel that when they are happy, we will be happy. But loving yourself also means that just being happy yourself. So, of course, it is not a selfish thing. It is not something selfish that we love ourselves. So we are being very selfish. It's nothing like that. It means that when we love ourselves, we automatically start feeling that love for others. That means we have it first. We have something, only then we can give it to someone. So that creating that love for ourselves, when Siddharth was saying attitude of gratitude, in the morning since about 2 years, I sit and literally loudly say, Swami, thank you for this, thank you for this, thank you for this, silly thing. And in the end, I say, Swami, thank you for me. Thank you for me. Because I am also important. I am you. And of course, Swami, thank you for you. But people think that sacrifice and not thinking of yourself and not being happy yourself, you can make others happy. It's not possible when you're not happy yourself. You can only give what you have inside to others. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Auntie. Anybody else? Okay. So for want of time, let's quickly conclude on this. But all points are interesting and valid. But let's give a different twist to this thought. Just when I was praying to Swami, because there's as you rightly said, to love oneself is a very different experience. And the question is, when we ask love from others in the world, even be it family, be it spouse, be it siblings, be it friends, actually what we are seeking is not love. We are seeking security. If you just deep dive into this thought,
Yes.
do we really seek love, or we are seeking security?
Security, importance, presence, anything other than love. Love is blind, and love only comes from the Lord. Or maximum, the parents who produced you. That is selfless. Otherwise, love has many colors in my eyes and mean colors. So we don't consider that as love. That is being used. On that topic, sir, I have a lot of clarity.
You are a PhD student.
No. Mummy will tell you that.
No,
I think,
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Saira, I think the kind of love that we are looking for is very need-based. It is it is having attachment. It is a reciprocation. It just doesn't flow. So that kind of love is.
It is only material then, right? That is not selfless love that we have or we receive.
It's with reason, and there's always a season. So,
yes, totally right. And we are living in it. That's why I say we are still in KG class. But love you only get from the Lord, which is totally unconditional, who's always forgiving you for anything you do. So that is love.
I think Minu Auntie has answered the question very well. I have nothing much to add, and this is precisely what the message was also from Swami, that ultimately in the world we only look for security. We want to be secured. When you are having a family around, you feel secured. The real love only comes from God, because He's a love. Ultimately, that's love Himself. In walking, what we saw in Divine in Swami is love walking on 2 feet, that we used to call Him. But ultimately, it's only God who can truly love us unconditionally. As Aarti Auntie said, no reason, no season for love, which Swami also sings many times. So the only way, if you are to love ourselves, we need to love God implicitly. How do we love ourselves? Implicitly love God. Whichever divine master, different form of God it is, again, doesn't matter, be it Swami, be it Jesus, be it Allah, it's one and the same. But if implicitly we have that connection and relationship with God, that is a true source of love, and we don't need any more from others. See, others may give, but we will not be seeking, I'm coming to you, please love me, I need that. Aisa nahi hai, and it's not an easy path, by the way. It's not that, tomorrow morning we get up and say we don't need anybody in the world. Okay, we are interdependent. As even Swami says, the other side also, that as a human being in a what we call in Mrityu Loka, as we are interdependent. And that's why he always says, be grateful to society. We are part of the society, always do service to society. We can't be indifferent to others, but the need for others' presence, others' recognition, others' love that we look for, we will no longer require it if we implicitly love God, because He's the only companion. Again, Swami says many times, He's the only friend that we have got in life. Everybody else is seasonal. Aaj season acha hai, so they'll be there. And Swami himself says, that if you have money in your pocket, there'll be a lot of friends. The day when you're a pauper, there'll be nobody around.
Then how do you become sort of deep to when you're not getting love? I mean, however much it's not the only thing, and God's love is the most important. But for some people, that when you're living with people or you're interacting with people, why are we so particular? Even Sai devotees, we want love from everyone. Why are we so particular? I can't understand it. Even I may be a part of that. I just want everyone to love me. Why?
Because we have not detached ourselves from material and human flesh. This is a human form, not flesh. That's a wrong one. From the human self, we have not detached ourselves from this worldly attachment. We came from mud, we go to mud. We came from the Lord and we go to the Lord. But we are so immersed in our thought process of wanting love, or in other words, wanting to be important to be loved.
Not necessarily important, but we really like being
pampering.
loved.
Yes, the pampering that comes with it.
Not even pampering, but when we feel genuine love for some people also. Sometimes it's not selfish. So we feel very good when we receive it also. So how to get rid of that?
That is expectation, I feel.
That is expectation. Correct.
That's expectation. Yeah.
Not because you're doing it. Not because you are doing something you expect the love back. No. Even otherwise, why do we want to get love from everyone, and that makes us very satisfied and all? That I sometimes try to understand, that why do I not, I care to hoots if people love me or not. I'm not like that. Why can I not understand that is not important?
Because we are not in Samantha. Is that the answer?
Siddharth, Ashu.
Is that the answer?
See, one simple thing is, I think we are getting a little digressed. The question, you go back to the question. How do we love ourselves without feeling the need to be loved by others or another? The moment we are seeking importance, seeking love from others, seeking attention from people, lot of people.
Not even that, but we enjoy the love people give us.
I mean, there is nothing wrong in enjoying the love people give us.
No, but what is your question? That
how do we love ourselves without feeling the need? If somebody is giving you a love, you don't need it, but it's coming to you, it's okay. If it doesn't come to you, you're not flustered also.
Why do you feel happier when you get it? You should not feel happier.
If you are getting something from others, you're feeling happy about it, nothing wrong. Only thing is, if you don't get it and you're feeling sad about it, it's wrong. See, the fact, I'll tell you the reason why it is. What we get from the world is temporary. It takes time to come to that even understanding.
Yes, it's Vidya.
Yeah. So as that has to be replaced from love from others than love from God himself. See, there are two things. There is God and there is the world. If we love God implicitly, we don't need the world to be loved, waiting for others to love us. Today, what is happening is we are touching and going back. We're touching and going back. We're touching and going back. So what happens is, again, if I go back to the pinwheel example, this is the center. Center को touch करके हम लोग वापस दूर जाते हैं. The problem is we need to come to the center forever. Then you don't need the feel of, expectation. So if you're getting the, it's like a pinwheel में अगर breeze आती है तो it's welcome, but you're not shaking from your source. The pinwheel that moves with the breeze also is felt by the pin in the between, but it is unshakable. It is remains steady. It feels the breeze as compared to the wheel. I mean the entire the wheel जो है उसके आसपास जो घूमते रहता है, and it goes as per the breeze. Both the center and the breeze, the wheel, both of them are experiencing it, the breeze. But this guy remains stable. This guy keeps moving as per the breeze comes. अगर ऐसा है तो ऐसे घूमता है, ऐसा है तो ऐसे घूमता है. So when if you are
अभी जैसे प्रतिभा है, suppose प्रतिभा है, I love her, she loves me, okay. Now tomorrow suddenly she decides to not love me. There's no expectation like that she must and all. But why will I feel bad about that? Why?
The moment you say happiness and bad or sorrow, that means you are attached to her, no?
The expectation was a lot. You were not
expectation.
No, you were not giving the person the space not to love you. It is very difficult. It's very easy to talk. You are not giving the person the space, the right to not love you for any reason. The person is not answerable to me.
Yeah, okay, not answerable to me. But I should not feel anything.
Because
whether
I'm not
I get it or not.
I don't have any control over my mind and heart. Because I'm not surrendered to his will all the way. My surrender is very conditional to my Lord.
May I ask one question? Yes. So we are a part of society, okay? It's not easy to exist in isolation, okay? So how should our feeling vis-a-vis society be in terms of, let us not go to this very beautiful emotion of love, even liking, even affection, which is different degrees of the same thing. So what should my attitude be, vis-a-vis liking and the opposite disliking, affection, lack of it, love, lack of it. So as I am, as Bhagwan always says, we are in society. So what do you say?
May I say something at this point? Siddharth and Ashutosh ask Mummy to talk. She will be able to explain this perfectly. Two people in my life I have observed was one, my father, and two was Mummy, who can actually give you the right answer. Live in society and yet not live. Expect and yet not expect. And no frown on their face, ever. मम्मी आप क्यों नहीं बताते? मम्मी किधर गए?
हाँ इधर ही थी।
हाँ तो फिर आप क्यों नहीं ये बात हमें समझाते?
कौन सी बात भाई?
ये
मैं सुन।
Love, expectation of love.
We have to give unconditional love. That's all I know. Hardly, don't expect anything from anybody.
No, Auntie's expectation was not that. Auntie's question was, if somebody stops loving, why do we get upset? Why should we not have an answer to that? Okay, why did Mummy stop loving me? Am I right, Auntie? अभी आप मुझे ये समझाओ.
समझा बाबा. सिद्धार्थ समझा.
Only one Okay, with Munira auntie's permission, because the question was asked to her. So with her permission.
No, please.
No, obviously. I mean, the simple answer is, moment you have expectations, that means you're attached. Attachment leads to desire of being recognized, happy, unhappy.
And you become slave to it.
Yeah, so if somebody appreciates you, you are happy. If somebody doesn't appreciate you, you are sad. You know, it is definitely you are in the state of attachment. Okay, you are attached. Anything that gives you the feeling of being recognized or not being recognized. See, if you are unflustered, you don't worry about it. ठीक है, recognition आया, welcome, नहीं आया तो भी welcome. That state of sthita prajna can come when you are not expecting anything from anybody. Now the question is it easy, difficult? It is difficult, prima facie. But Swami has made it easier. He says, just love God. Replace God's world's love with God's love. And I can tell you there are hundreds of experiences on this. Some of personal, some of the others also. Because God takes far better care of you than the world. God takes far better care of you than the world. And once you start tasting that God love, your expectations from the others to give you that love, recognition, actually just one shot disappears. So when we say, how can I live in the world where, you know, people don't love me or like me, or what should I do? You don't need to do anything. You just need to love implicitly God and God alone, because He's the ultimate. And in the previous question also, we discussed the same thing. He's the only friend that we have got. Ultimately, it may come as a harsh reality, including our family members. Family members are there today, they will not be there tomorrow. If we behave well at home, they'll be happy. If you say no to anybody about their opinion, they will be a different, you know, Vishwarup Darshan they will give you in different form. So everything is conditional in the world. The only way for us to remain Sthita Prajna is go back to the source and implicitly love God. Implicitly love God. And that's why I go back to the Swami's video of love and faith. They are the only two things that is required. It is not philosophy, it's practical experience. To give meat to this point, I can give you one. There are many personal experiences in my life, I can tell you. But because of the paucity of time, one single experience I can tell you very, very, you know, how Swami takes care of you. And you don't need the world to take care of you. You only need God to take care of you. And He takes complete care of you. You know, a very simple experience, very, very simple. It's 2000, maybe 18. I don't remember the exact date, but sometime July, August 2018. So well past Mahasamadhi. It's not that Swami is physically present and did something for me. How Swami, you know, still remains connected and, you know, takes care of us in this era also. 2018 sometime, 2002 I passed out from Puttaparthi. So almost 16 years I was in corporate world. In Puttaparthi, why I'm referring is during our dining sessions, you know, they used to give us something called soybean nugget vegetable. Soybean nugget, all of us know, Parthi, it was very common, you know, they used to give us because it's good for health. Once in a week. So initially I never liked it, but I developed the taste for it and I started loving it. I came to Bombay in 2002 and I had not seen that vegetable for almost 16 years, because in hardly we make at home in Bombay, at least in my house. I don't know about yours, but in my house it's not never made, and I had forgotten. 16 साल के बाद 2018 में, when I was having lunch in the office, you know, with my colleagues, one of them actually got it. So 16 साल के बाद I was seeing the same thing, and I immediately told that person, oh, I am reminded of my hostel, and we used to, you know, have this regularly. They used to serve us once in a week, and I used to love this. And so he gave, obviously, you know, out of the concern, he gave 2 more spoons to me and said, you have it. I just expressed this. We had lunch, went back to our office work, and I had forgotten. Everybody forgot, and everybody was back to their respective self. I come back in the evening back home, and in my living room, you know, exactly in my living room, I enter the house, and on my teapot in the living room, I see a packet of soybean nugget kept there. It has never, 16 years में मैं कभी भी नहीं देखा था ये, 16 साल में मैंने सुना भी नहीं था. It's hardly we make at home, but I saw a packet. Now you may wonder कहाँ से ये आया packet. Obviously it was bought by my spouse. So I asked the spouse कि अरे आज suddenly कहाँ से आया? नहीं, बस you like it, so I brought it. Simple answer. She had no idea about it, that I thought about it, or, you know, I spoken to somebody in the, you know, by fluke I spoke on the dining table. on the lunch, and the same evening, I can understand after 1 महीने के बाद आया हो, वही शाम को once I come back, it was there on my table. Next morning, it was cooked at home. You see, I'm just sharing this experience because God takes phenomenal care for you that you don't need love of the world. Love, if you get from others, welcome. But if you don't get, you don't need to be worried about it or start feeling, अरे क्यों नहीं मिला, अगर मिलता तो अच्छा होता, because you're already filled with His love. अगर आपका घड़ा full है, why you will go on expecting more and more डालो? You're already filled with His love. मिला तो भी ठीक है, नहीं मिला तो भी ठीक है, because He's always with us. He's taking care of you. You ask, and even before you ask, He thinks. You imagine, I just expressed to a third person who don't even know Sai Baba. Lunch table में, office में, Bombay में, I'm expressing a thought of happiness that I like this. Evening में, from nowhere, God has connected it to my spouse, and it was there on my table.
One consciousness. One consciousness.
Absolutely. So see, He's the one who connects. He is that internet in our language. He is the internet connectivity which connects the world today, in forever, not just today, it's forever. But once you have that in love with your connectivity with God, He takes care. He positions different people to take care of you. It's not like physically appears in front of you and feeds you. वो भी होता है at higher levels पे, वो भी होता है. And there are many experiences of that also. Physically also He appears. He makes His presence felt also in special cases. So some other day maybe I'll narrate those experiences. But these are the way when He fills you with His love, you no longer need anybody's love. Attachment छूट जाता है. Because attached to God, you don't pine for it anymore. And one last piece is, when you truly love yourself, you will love the world. You will love the creation. I'm telling you from experience, when you truly love yourself, you will end up loving everybody. En masse. Everybody is yours. Everybody, sabhi log mere hi hai. There's nobody different from me. They are all mine. जो रास्ते में कुत्ता भी मेरा है, जो मेरा apparent दुश्मन वो भी मेरा ही आदमी है. That's the feeling you get when you are truly in love with yourself. You are actually in love with the creation. Which Swami said, love only.
You can give it only if you have it inside you, not for yourself.
Absolutely. So the starting point is develop that relationship with God, develop that connectivity, because that's the source of happiness. When we look for others, they are all temporary ghadas. आज मिला नहीं भी मिला, कल सूख गया तो वो भी पानी नहीं मिलेगा. But यहाँ पर हमेशा टैंक भरा रहता है. So let's take the ocean, then going for the lakes and the ponds. And once you have ocean with you, you have no limitless of water is available to you.
So I think if we talk about today's study circle, the entire focus needs to be ways in which we develop and love ourselves totally, unconditionally, madly. And then I think the entire external environment and internal environment will get sorted out, So the steps to love ourselves, that's it.
One thing, if I may, a lot of people did ask me who are not Sai devotees, who never known who Sai Baba is. They said, what is the purpose of Sai Avatar? Why did He incarnate on earth? One simple thing which I'm telling you from my experience, I've not read any books about it, but in a very simplistic terms, just imagine Swami is not there. It's only us. And when we say love ourselves, we don't know who we are, right? I don't know who am I. I don't know my real self. I've not experienced it. So how do I love myself? An abstract thing. So God says, I will come as a human form. You fall in love with me, have a relationship with me. Dhire, 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 I will ensure that you get connected to yourself. That's the biggest contribution of Satya Sai Avatar or any avatars in the past. Because now you're able to relate. You're able to relate to Krishna, you're able to relate to Rama, you're able to relate to Jesus, you're able to relate to all the divine masters, say Mahavira or Satya Sai Baba or Shirdi Sai Baba. Because now I'm able to relate, I'm able to love him. That abstract so-called universal consciousness has taken a form which our mind is now able to connect. And if you are able to develop that relationship with that abstract converted into a human form, it's far more easier to go back inside. That's the biggest contribution of the divine incarnations, where we are able to develop that relationship with him. Imagine the absence of avatar, absence of human form. It's very difficult for us to connect with our abstract self, which we don't know. We have not touched, felt how it is. Isn't it? So we are all blessed that we got that connectivity. We got somebody to connect with. And wahan se andar ja sakenge hum log. That's the highest blessings all of us have. Again, so I repeat, all of us are PhD. We have got highest blessings in our life that we were incarnated. We were incarnated at a time when the divine incarnation was present. And we could come close to him. We could see him. We could connect with him. We could relate to him. And through that, this kind of study circles, he said, okay, you related, now you come together and now connect within yourself where actually I reside. Isn't it? How beautiful, how blessed we are.
Yeah.
We are well past the time. I know Pratibha Aunty is.
Yeah. Can we conclude? Like,
Yeah.
You can do that. Yeah.
So anyway,
Thank you.
I hope this helps. And there are other more questions which are like, if is wanting to look good, being very body conscious or attached to the body, I think is probably too. It's an important question, but can be taken offline. Whoever has asked this, I would request to connect offline. And remaining questions, I think, are more.
Next class mein le lo na. Like next class, you can start with this. Others will be also benefited that way. We can.
Questions hai. Ek ya do hi questions. So it's basically, if I decorate myself, am I body attached or not? I mean, it's too. It's a good question, but it is more of in the level of discussions ke kafi, in terms of it is a low category of discussions about body attachment and whether I'm looking good or not. I mean, so we can, whoever has asked this question, we can take it offline. If you feel we need to cover that, next session we can have a 10-minute and move ahead with the topic.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's conclude by Samasta Loka. Let's offer this session to beloved Bhagwan for giving us, this opportunity to think about him and his divine message. We are all blessed to be in his presence. And with this gratitude, let's end the program. Oh. Samasta lokaha sukhino bhavantu. Samasta lokaha sukhino bhavantu. Samasta lokaha sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Bolo Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai Baba Ji ki Jai.